Hola, hola, mwah, hola. Welcome back to the Village Princess channel. I'm your host, Ira Specific, and I am here with a story time for you, my beloved. But before I get to the story that I brought for you, there's something I will ask from you. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share my stories. Don't forget to hit the notification button somewhere there, so that when I post a new story, you know there's a new story to be seen and to be shared. Today's story is about a lady who I asked, how, where, and when did you meet your husband? And oh my, she started sharing. She shared so much things that I never saw it coming. And of course, I did ask her, can I share this story with my cyber family? And she said, yes, of course. And this is how I got the story that I have for you, my beloveds. Sit, relax, and enjoy the ride with me. I'll be narrating this story as the lady who gave me this story to share with you. The whole thing started when we were at the hairdressing salon, and this woman was telling, so she's very talkative, and she was telling us stories, but every story had a part that my husband. And people, they were just looking and rolling their eyes and not saying anything, just going, making funny faces like, hey, who has a husband? This type of face. So me, the most brave one, the village princess, had nothing to lose. I asked, my lady, we all have noticed that you're really one of the happiest married women in this world, because the way you speak about your husband, you speak about him like you're talking about God. How long have you been married? How did you meet your husband? Do you have kids? Whew, she started sharing. She started telling her story, and this is me now getting into character, becoming her, and telling you how I met my husband. But before I tell you how I met my husband, I have to tell you how I grew up, so that it makes sense why my husband became my God. I met my husband in one of the most darkest days of my life, but he was like an angel sent to come and save me that day. I grew up in a very humble household. My both parents, very religious, born again Christians, very dedicated to the church. My siblings and I, we were brought up in church. Our life was just school, church, work for the ones that were working. We never had like all these fashionable clothes, or we never had all these kind of fun things. Everything, my parents were like, no, that's for the devil. That's the devil, for the devil's life. Nothing, everything had to be from the book, Bible, Christian life. The way we dressed, the way we spoke, the way we acted. I was the black sheep of the family, because everything I saw it on TV with my friends, or everything I saw it in school, I had the dream of becoming like some of my friends in school. Even though they were not allowed to come to our home, I used to go out and be with my friends, and sometimes I would be even wearing my friends' clothes and look all fashionable and come home and wear all those baggy clothes and be a proper Christian girl the way my parents liked. Me being the rebellious that I was, and being curious and wanting to see and try things and never do things the way my parents always wanted me to do. When I was around 17, 18, I met a boy in school. Coincidentally, he was the son of one of the family friends of my parents. They went to the same church. We became very close friends, and we decided to try, and we did the deed. Don't ask me where, because I'm not even proud of where I had sex for the first time. But it was all consensual. So me and my boyfriend, we had sex, and 1, 2, 3 months, I realized that my period was not coming. I didn't even know that I was pregnant, because everything was, I didn't know anything. I was very inexperienced with all kind of things to do with life, with real life situation. When I realized that I was pregnant, I told my boyfriend, but I was scared of my parents, because my parents, they were like by the book, everything Christian. If anything that was not done the Christian way, it was from the devil this, the devil that, and prayers and all of that. But never, there was no logic. Sorry, no, I'm not intending to offend any Christian people here. So when I told my boyfriend that I was pregnant, he was excited, but he was scared too because his parents were all Christian too, and their home was exactly more or less like my home. But that being said, he did acknowledge the pregnancy, and we tried to maintain. I continued going to school until I was around 6 months, but I was hiding with a uniform, and I was even tying my stomach. One day, when I felt like my mom was starting to suspect that I was pregnant, I went to my boyfriend's house and I never came back. I moved in with him and his family. For the first week or two, I was hiding in his room. No one in the house knew that I was there. It's sad to say, but I was peeing on the bucket and only going to the toilet at night when everybody else was sleeping. This is how bad my situation was. Then the family realized that I was pregnant. They went to speak with my family because my family, I think my parents, they interviewed my brothers and sisters to find out where I am and what was going on. They knew that I was pregnant, they knew where I was, but they never came looking for me. They just acted like they did not know, like no one was missing in the house, according to what my siblings told me. Life continued going, carry on normal, like no one is missing. So when my boyfriend's parents went to speak to my family, I don't know what my family said, but they looked after me as a daughter. But the difference is that my family, they were more off financially than the family of my boyfriend. They were really, really very poor. But he's cute. He was cute and he's cute. And I really liked him. And yeah, we liked each other. But at some point, when I was about to give birth, things start changing because the mother believed that because we were not married, I need to go back to my family to give birth where my family is, not in her house, because they cannot have a bastard child, if I might call it like that. So I went home. Can you guys believe that my own mother chased me with my nearly 9 months pregnancy? From there, I went to a friend's house. I gave birth when I was in my friend's house with her family. Another very humble, very, very good family. My friend's parents, they were like angels, but they didn't have much. The mother would wake up and go to the field to grow maize and things in the field, but they didn't have money, they didn't have like even food, everything. It was a very poor household, but very happy household. I gave birth to my baby, the clothes and everything was done because my boyfriend, the father of the baby at that time, by then, he just vanished. The same way like my family behaved towards me is the same way that he behaved. He just disappeared. He didn't come to see me, even though he knew where I was, because my friend, the one I was staying with, her family, he told her that I was staying with them, but he never came to see me or the baby. So when the baby was around, let's say 6 months, I started becoming really, really, really desperate. I was 19, no education, no work, I didn't even have nice clothes. Even if I had to go and look for a job, I was very frail. I was hungry. I was breastfeeding without eating properly. I lost so much weight. I was already skinny. I became even skinnier. But I met one of those days going to the market, I met one of my old schoolmates. She looked very good, and she stopped, she greeted me and everything, and I asked her what she was up to, and she told me she's working, and if you want, she can introduce me to the job that she does. Because of course I told her all my sad story about my life situation, about the baby, and how I wish to change my situation. I'm very grateful to the family that I'm staying with, but that's not my goal in life. I want something better for myself. So she tells me, okay, you can move in with me, but as long as you don't bring the baby, because for a short while, until you get yourself back in track, You can go and fetch the baby, but for now, if you want, I can introduce me to my line of work, but no babies allowed. Okay. I go back home. I speak to my friend about the situation because the friend that I met, it was in another town. And I could go and stay with her for a short while until I get paid, and then I can come and fetch my child. She spoke to her parents. They were very happy because they were treating me like one of their daughters and the child like their grandchild. Whatever little that they had, we were all sharing. It's just that I wanted more than that. I didn't want to end up my life like that. I went to town to be with this friend that I met the other day. She was really nice to me. She started teaching me to do makeup. I would be putting her clothes because she always said, oh my God, you are so beautiful. I wish I had your body, because she was a little bit fuller than I was. I was tall and skinny. One day she takes me out. We go to the streets. I didn't see that coming because on my mind, we are going to some establishment. I didn't even think where we were going in terms of work, but we left. We catch the bus, go to the center of town, dressed to kill, to stand on the street, like working girls. So she tells me, she gave me the rundown. When this happens, you do this and you do that, but don't take your money and go with the client. If somebody comes and they want to take you with, they're gonna have to pay me, and then you go with the person, and then I get the telephone number of that person, and if in case you don't come back, I'll call that person, but you're just going for an hour. If he wants to, we negotiate with him. If he wants to take you for 1 hour, you go for an hour. 2 hours, that will be, and he will pay me, and then I'll give you the money. Oh, okay. But I am saying okay, because I'm just thinking about the money that I'm about to get. I'm not thinking about any other thing, not even the fact that I have to sleep with someone to get paid. But what happened that day is that when we got there, one of her old clients arrived in the car and fetched her, and she took her with. And she was like, remember what I said? Okay, fine. Few minutes later, this other car arrives, but there was this other lady who was standing on the other side, much older than us. Let's say, at the time I was 20, and that time maybe she was like 35 or something. She tells me, she started talking to me. I knew, here, I can see you're friends with so-and-so. I said, yes. You knew, is this your first time? I'm like, yes, it's my first time. And she's like, okay. I don't think it's a good idea for you to go with this, but she told me exactly the same story that my friend told me, that somebody must take my money. I shouldn't go and get paid after the job. So if a client comes to take you, I'll collect your money, and tomorrow when we come back, I'll give you your money. Few minutes pass, a car arrives. This guy, he's busy trying to get me to get into his car, and the lady's like, she is my baby. If you want to take her, you're gonna have to give me the money, and then you can take her, and give me your telephone number so that when she doesn't come back, we know where to get hold of you. Somehow they will call, and then the person needs to answer with their phones. So that's what happened. But just before I entered that car, something told me, no, don't go. I stood there and I told the lady, give him back his money, because I'm not going into this car with this guy. The lady got so angry with me. Why aren't you going? He already paid, and this guy paid good money for you. You should go with him. I said, no, I'm not going. I'm talking and I'm just walking away. I started running, literally running away from that lady in that car. I was crying, I was shaking, I was scared. And I didn't even have a phone at that time. But while I'm walking, trying to get back to the bus, which I realized I don't even have money for the bus to go home. I was just walking on the streets at night, dressed skimpy. So this car stops. Okay, my husband is white. I'm black African and my husband is European. He's German. So my husband stops the guy. He stops his car, he greets me and he asks me where was I going to, if he can give me a lift. And then I just started crying. And the guy stopped the car, he comes out, he asked me what's wrong, what happened to me, why am I crying? Then I explained to him. First, I started telling him that I'm a single mother, I'm desperate for money, my child doesn't have food and clothes, and I'm just looking for a way to make money. And my friend took me there and did this and this and that to me. And the guy, he said, can I hug you? And somehow I just gave myself to the guy. I hugged him and I started crying with him. On him, not with him, he was not crying. So after that, the guy asked me if he can take me home. I said, yes, he can take me home. Of course, the area where we were living, it was really very poor area. He drove there, he was not even scared. He dropped me, he gave me some money, and he asked me if he can see me again the next day. I said, of course. Of course, now I'm not crying anymore. I have some money and I have this man that was like an angel who came to save me from that situation. What I didn't tell you is that I didn't go home to my friend who brought me to the streets. I went home to where my baby was, to my family, the family that's been looking after my baby. Then I told my friend, the one that was with my baby in the room, what just happened. And she was like, oh my God, you're crazy. How can you do something like that? You could have just waited until you get a proper job and all these kind of stories. But yeah, I stayed. The next day, my husband comes, he fetches me, he takes me out for dinner. We eat and we talked, and he started telling me his story that he's divorced. He has a child with his wife in Europe, but he's in Africa working for an NGO. And if I don't mind, he would like to become friends with me, and we take it from there and see what happens, because at the moment he's not dating anyone. Okay. We started seeing each other often. He started coming often. He would take me to his house. He started even inviting my baby and my friend, who I told him she was my sister. We would spend time. I start going to nice places and everything. And even less than a year, we got married. A beautiful wedding. I moved in with him, but until this point, my biological family, they didn't want anything to do with me. The family of my friend are the ones that they represented my parents for my wedding day. And so life went by, and my family was my friend's parents, or my friend's family. Those were my family. Until I don't know what happened, I can't really tell, that I met my mom, and we started talking, and I reconnected with my biological family. It was not the same, because my father still had that strong, they still both had these strong beliefs, but somehow my mom became softer than my dad. And after that, moving in with my husband 2 years later, or a few years later, because I got pregnant when I was 18 and I had the baby when I was 19. I met my husband when I was 20, and a few years later I had a child with my husband. We traveled abroad to his family, and everybody treated me like a goddess. And a few years later, 2 or 3 years later, I had my second child with my husband, but he treats the 3 of our kids like they are all his kids. Somehow, because the guy did not register the child when I gave birth to him, what we did is that my husband, he adopted my child, because on the birth certificate, he didn't have a father. He just had my name's on his birth certificate. But after some time, my husband, he adopted the child, and the child bears the name of my husband too. And now I have 3 kids. I've been married for nearly 30 years with my beloved husband. If I say that my husband is God, it's because my husband, he can do anything for me just to see me happy. Until today, all these years that we've been married, I'm not saying that we never had arguments, we never fought. We had lots of arguments, we had lots of culture, what's the word? Culture clash. We had lots of difference of opinions, but he, at the end, we always go to bed after we made peace. We don't go to bed angry. He makes sure that he wants to know, he asks me, are you happy, are you okay? He cares. That's why no matter what, my husband for me is my God on earth. That's why when I talk about my husband, my eyes, they sparkle, they shine. I get excited, I get happy because I know that this man somehow is an angel on earth that was brought down here to look after me. That day when I was about to sell my soul to the devil so that I would make money to survive, to pay the bills for my child and myself. Thank you for watching my story. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Share the stories. The Village Princess channel needs to grow. And if you have a story for me, you can email me on iramanyis@gmail.com, iramanyis@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram and I can take it from there. Me and you, we can make it work, and I can share your story here on this channel, the Village Princess channel. Big kiss, lots of love from me to you. Lots of love, and just like that, goodbye. Goodbye. See you on my next video. Mwah.